What's up, everyone? This is Zach on the Abide by Reality YouTube channel, and I'll be bringing you another My Thoughts video. And this video will be way more serious than my other videos, like the Simone Biles video. This video isn't for the faint of heart, so if you are looking for a lighthearted video, then this isn't the video for you. But this is a situation that I've been monitoring and wanting to talk about for a while now. Today I will be stepping away from sports topics and be diving into video games, which is one of my favorite pastimes, and I like getting a usual game in. Activision is known for making Call of Duty. Whenever I was a kid, I would always play World at War and Black Ops, which were both created by Activision. I always thought that the campaigns for these games were pretty astounding for their time. Stepping away from that, though, the state of California has actually been looking into Activision the past 2 years, and they have filed a lawsuit a couple weeks ago. I first saw this information on Kotaku, which they documented a pretty good article for the whole situation, where it says that Activision Blizzard, the publishing giant behind everything from Call of Duty to Overwatch, is being sued by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing over a frat boy workplace culture. And I was thinking to myself, is this really bad as it seems? Because I just, read it and I was like, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Boy, was I wrong. I will link the Kotaku article in my video description, but to show you how serious and insane this situation is, the content warning for this article is suicide, harassment, and rape, which of course are three major scenarios that you never want to take lightly. And to read more into what's been going on, I'll read different instances from this article. Starting with, in the office, women are subjected to cube crawls, in which male employees drink copious amounts of alcohol as they crawl their way through various cubicles in the office, and often engage in inappropriate behavior towards female employees. Male employees proudly come into work hungover, play video games for long periods of time during work while delegating their responsibilities to female employees, engage in banter about their sexual encounters, talk openly about female bodies, and joke about rape. Continuing with these, female employees are subjected to constant sexual harassment, including having to continually fend off unwanted sexual comments and advances by their male employees and supervisors, and being groped at the cube crawls and other company events. High-ranking executives and creators engage in blatant sexual harassment without repercussions. And just reading that, and that's not even all of it, that's just a starter. That's just the tip of the iceberg of what's going on just on a normal day at the Activision headquarters. The article continues to two major topics that prove to be controversial in today's world. And I'll first start reading off with how female employees are treated negatively due to their pregnancies. And quote, supervisors ignored medical restrictions given to female employees and gave them negative evaluations while they were out on maternity leave. Other female employees reported that they were criticized for leaving to pick up their children from daycare with their male counterparts, were playing video games, and female employees were kicked out of lactation rooms so employees could use the room for meetings. And to move on to the second topic, there was women of color were particularly vulnerable targets of discriminatory practices. End quote. An African-American employee noted that it took her 2 years to be made into a permanent employee, while men after her were made permanent employees. She was also micromanaged, so that her male coworkers were known to be playing video games without any intervention by her supervisor, but her supervisor would call and check on her if she took a break to go on a walk. Another African American employee who worked in information technology was similarly micromanaged by her manager, unlike the men on her team. When she requested time off of work, her manager made her write a 1 page summary of how she would spend that time off when no one else had to do any write up. Just to show you the severity of this whole situation, there's a part of the article I want to read to you. And this is pretty hard for me to read because I've had these thoughts, and to see what these people at Activision put other people through, it just rings loudly for anyone who's going through depression or anxiety. But going on with the article, it says, in a particular tragic example, a female employee committed suicide during a business trip with a male supervisor who had brought butt plugs and lubricant with him on the trip. The article also says the suit also accuses Activision Blizzard of failing to act on numerous complaints of harassment, discrimination, and retaliation from male colleagues over these complaints. And it further discouraged from complaining, as human resource personnel were known to be close to alleged harassers. In January this year, Activision Blizzard called attempts to make its workplace more diverse unworkable, quote unquote. You can only imagine what kind of uproar this would cause on social media and in the community. The next few days after this article, Activision workers actually had a walkout of the headquarters. And this was seen as a ultimate protest, and one that was much needed for these workers to show that they have been fed up with the discourse and no action taken against people who were abusing their own colleagues and coworkers. And to quote some of the Activision workers, quote, improve conditions for employees at the company, especially women, people of color, and people of different sexual orientation. And also, quote, we no longer trust that our leaders will place employee safety above their own interests. This walkout was met with a bunch of praise on social media, and everyone was supporting this. This also had Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision Blizzard, write a letter concerning his employees' concerns and just giving them maybe a brighter view of the future. I won't read the entirety of Kotick's letter, which the reason is it's a pretty lengthy letter, but it does introduce a few good points that hopefully will be enacted in his company. And going on to employee support, pretty much giving more resources for employees whenever it comes to employee relations, or just having a better overall aura of, the workplace. The next point is listening sessions. So it says here, we know many of you have inspired ideas on how to improve our culture. We'll be crediting safe spaces moderated by third parties for you to speak out and share ideas for improvement. The next point is personnel changes. Basically, they'll be evaluating all the supervisors and leaders within Activision Blizzard and pretty much a background check to see if their values are the right ones for employees, which I have to say is pretty good, but it's not my thoughts yet. I'll be continuing on to the next one. And the next one is hiring practices. Earlier this year, I sent an email requiring all hiring managers to ensure they have a diverse candidate slates for all opening positions. And the next and last point is in-game changes, and they're basically going to take out any material from their games that seem to be sexist or like homophobic or transphobic. There's actually been a new break in this news this morning whenever I went to see what was going on Twitter. And there was a Twitter account named Jason Schreier, and the tweet says, breaking, Blizzard President J. Allen Brack is leaving the company. Activision Blizzard just told staff. Jen O'Neill and Mikey Barra will take over as co-leaders of Blizzard. This is the part of the video where I give my thoughts on the situation, and I have a lot of them. The frat boy culture surrounding workplaces, I would say it's pretty common, and I would say in a lot of smaller companies. It doesn't make it right, of course not. But whenever you think of Activision Blizzard, a big company, inhabiting these practices, it's insane to think about. And seeing all the situations like discrimination, harassment, bullying, even suicide, it's very disheartening to see a company that's made big games like Call of Duty to Overwatch. It makes you very uneasy whenever it comes to supporting this company. Just imagine having a loved one like your wife or fiance or even sister. They get a job and they start working in a company as vile as this, with their practices being sketchy, having harassment towards women. And the worst part is that these women, they don't even say anything because they know, like like this environment that they work for. If you try to talk to an HR relation person, like even whenever it came to Activision Blizzard, they were close with the people who were the harassers, so it was a pretty terrible situation for these women. If you heard this coming from your loved one, you would be very concerned for their safety and their mentals. After reading the letter sent from Bobby Kotick to his Activision employees, I was honestly surprised on how human sounding the message was. And the policies he wants to enact, I full-heartedly agree with. The thing is, it can't be all talk. You have to enforce everything you said. It's sad to see that nowadays, even in big companies, that women and people of color have to suffer harassment, bullying, and on the worst occasion, you could have suicide. The person who went in that situation and made that female feel that uncomfortable, he should not have a job. It's not even a political debate. It's basically a moral value that you can't have that kind of person in your workplace or company. The sudden resignation of J. Allen Brack is astounding, and it speaks volumes of how serious this lawsuit was. He didn't want any part of this. He's going to try to rid himself of the stigma of this lawsuit, but you really can't. And it's just mind-boggling that these colleagues that are guilty of this whole Activision lawsuit, it's worse than you can even imagine. Just to paint a picture of how crazy this is, they actually had a shrine to Bill Cosby. No joke. They had Bill Cosby framed, a framed picture of Bill Cosby, which they're posing for, which I'll show you just to show the stupidity and insensitivity of the people involved. In conclusion, I hope this whole situation is cleaned up. I hope the people that are guilty of any accusations during this whole snafu at Activision get fired and are labeled as miscreants and just not be able to get a job anywhere. This is just way crazier than I thought before getting into this topic. But anyways, guys, I know this video was a heavy video, and I was hesitant on making it, but I think it was important to show you how crazy this world still is, which, you know, I wouldn't really have to give you a reminder because you probably know. But anyways, what did you guys think about this video? Do you think Bobby Kotick will really go through with his plans? Do you think it'll be a better workplace at Activision? Let me know. And also, what topics do you want me to talk about? I'm open to anything. That's not too crazy or something that I have knowledge of. Anyways, guys, y'all have a good one, and don't forget to abide by reality.